Hi there. So we're back for another full moon. This time it's happening in Aquarius. And they call it the full buck moon, or like buck, like a deer. So I'm sure it's because at this time of year we see more deer or stags around, or bucks around. Or at least when they named this moon, they did. So we have interesting planets as usual, interesting energy. And I'm doing this video a couple of days beforehand, and I can usually feel these effects in the lead up before the actual full moon. One thing that's interesting, depending where you are, I've spoken to people obviously in Canada, but I've spoken to people even as far south as Philadelphia. And because of so many forest fires that are all over, whether it's BC, Oregon, all over Ontario or different places, there's a lot of smog in the air, and it's creating a pinkish, orangish, or dark orange hue to our moon for the last couple of days or more. So we're likely to see a really beautiful orange or pink moon because of all the smog, because of the forest fires. So it's a sad reason why it's going to be beautiful, but it's going to be, it might feel a little extra magical because of that too. So let's get to the chart analysis for you. And I'm looking forward. So I'm just going to set it up so I see it a little better. There. All right, so July 23rd, it happens at 10:37 p.m. That's the Eastern time zone. And as I've mentioned in these videos before, a lot of people cast their charts internationally. So I'm assuming they do it Universal Time or Greenwich Mean Time. In case you're wondering and you listen to other astrologers, they might be basing their house system on Greenwich Mean Time or Universal Time, UTC. So that's going to shift the houses and what they say is happening. But then that also, it locates the energy for the places that are under that time zone. Or you could say that it locates the energy and events for the whole world, because we've decided that that time zone is international time. I like to look at the chart based on the time zone I'm in, and make it more specific for the people who are listening in the Eastern time zone. And if you're in the Central or Pacific or Greenwich, of course, these house placements are going to change where all of this plays out in your life. So for our intents and purposes, we have the Sun in Leo, the Moon in Aquarius opposing. It's a full moon. And we have Pisces as our rising sign, 25 degrees Pisces. And what's interesting is that Neptune is sitting right on the rising sign if you are in this time zone, which definitely would make a difference compared to, if we swing it a little bit. Chiron might be sitting there on the rising sign for some of you. Jupiter might be sitting on the rising sign for others of you. It's going to change how it all plays out. For us in this time zone, Neptune on the rising sign is like, Neptune rising is, it casts a glamour, as we would say. Think about people that sort of have a glow about them, people that have like a superstar, rock star quality about them, people that might seem mystical or elusive, mysterious. Sometimes Neptune rising will make the that outward energy, or that first thing you feel about a person, vague, like you can't quite put your finger on what it is about them. They could be quite the chameleon or shapeshifter with Neptune there. They would just very naturally, psychically or intuitively tap into who or what they're around and adapt and give what is needed. And you could say, if there's other things going on, could it be manipulative? Maybe. Sometimes it can be. Other times it can just be sort of a natural way that a Neptunian person would sort of feel and blend in with what's around them, just tapping into somebody else's stream instead of maintaining their own. Neptune can easily sort of disperse and lose itself. And that's another reason why we kind of might see this glamorous feeling, because a lot of glamour and idealizing is all about projecting things that you want to see versus seeing what is there. Neptune rising hides very well, not like I'm not going to show you, like secretive, but it's just not clear. And so it hides what's really under the surface in a soft way you won't know. So Neptune rising, for me, would say you could have some heightened experiences. You might find something very beautiful or wonderful. You might idealize or put somebody else on a pedestal. You might want to be aware whether you're seeing the whole picture of something. And as we mentioned, it also makes sense with the smoke and, the pinkness of the moon. That's a very Neptunian type of feeling as well, like special effects and making it cinematic. So it's interesting it's all happening together. So, of course, Sun in Leo, just 1 degree. It's just begun its journey in Leo. So we shift into fire. We shift into a fixed sign. People get more bold, more confident, more courageous with Leo than with Cancer. They come out of their shell and into the light. The moon in Aquarius, though, is the opposite. The moon in Aquarius, people I've met can be highly sensitive, but will definitely hide it. They're not comfortable with emotion. They're not comfortable at all with the emotions. And they might, they're not comfortable with their own, so they're not comfortable with anybody's. Very intelligent people. Again, don't think that they're not sensitive. It's not about lack of sensitivity. It's sort of more of a fear of how sensitive they actually are, and it sends it into hiding almost, or it's denied, or it's like intellectualized because it's an air sign. The moon doesn't like to be in a fixed sign very much, right? The moon is like the tides. It needs to flow, and it's orbiting. It likes the darkness. It likes to give a subtle glow. Fixed signs force it into, the moon into a box in a certain way. So it can make the person's emotional nature more fixed and more stubborn or more dramatic. It can create emotional blockages. So with the moon in Aquarius, in my opinion, the emotional blockage is that they don't want to deal with their emotional nature or acknowledge that it's there. So I find you find a lot of denial with an Aquarius moon. And then you've got a full moon, you've got the sun in Leo, and it demands to express itself. So this is where there's always a conflict with the full moon, just by nature. So you have this incognito feelings. What feelings? I just blend in with everybody, man, kind of moon. And then you have this, look at me. Where's everybody? Kind of sun. So that's the basics of what's going on. And then, well, Neptune's on the rising sign in Pisces, giving it all a little, diffusing it all, dispersing it all. Hard to see if this conflict is going on under the surface. So just remember, if things seem too good to be true, if you feel like you're being experiencing any gaslighting. No, that's not how it is. No, this isn't happening. No, I think that's how you feel, but no. If you get any gaslighting about stuff, especially when it comes to talking about people's feelings, just know that there's probably some underlying conflict, stubbornness, ego underneath the surface that you haven't, maybe they don't want to show, or it's very hard to see at first. So the other thing is the sun is conjunct Mercury, even though Mercury's still in Cancer. So Mercury in Cancer is still very sensitive, very emotional, completely the opposite of that moon in Aquarius. And it's opposing the moon in Aquarius, and it's opposing Pluto, which is still in Capricorn, but it's right beside the moon. So moon and Pluto together is a whole different story. The moon and Pluto together is very controlling. So you got the moon in Aquarius, side by side Pluto in Capricorn. There is an enormous amount of somebody trying to suppress and deny their sensitivity and to control the situation instead. So what you see with moon Pluto, if it's a natal aspect, but you might see it just around you now, is you see power trips, you see power struggles, which could lead to manipulations. There's an attempted dominance with the moon and Pluto, and because it's the moon, it's your emotion, it's the emotional needs, and because it's Aquarius denying they have emotions, you get what you could get is a very blind grab for power. You know, somebody who will deny that they're sensitive and yet do something incredibly manipulative to overpower somebody or dominate them, but still deny that they're doing it or have any feelings about it. That's a potential. When you've got the sun in Leo and the Mercury in Cancer, it's a totally different archetype. This would be a very expressive person, more empathic, more family related, cries at commercials, you know, wants sentimental moments, wants celebrations and birthday parties, and wants to be treated with kindness and with a bit of a mother's nurturing love so that they can express themselves. So this is quite a different energy going on then, because of these planets lining up that are opposing each other. So it's interesting to me to see such a different archetype conflicting, and then Neptune on the rising just going, or is it? Is it? I don't know. So what I'm expecting with this full moon is that you're going to come in contact with some pretty strong emotions and some manipulative tactics that we're going to see. Hopefully you don't see it in your personal life, but you might see it at your work. You might just see it going on around you in the news, or politically. But I'm getting a feeling of like a strong grab for something and a complete denial that it's being done. It's like somebody who reaches across the table, grabs your dessert and eats it and said, no, I wasn't hungry. Okay. This is the level of denial and control I'm sensing. And as I said, with Neptune rising, they might successfully look like the most charming, wonderful person as they did that. You have to look below the surface this full moon. There's a level of conflict going on underneath things that puzzle you. Now, what else we have going on is the moon is squaring off with, not squaring. Well, the moon and Pluto are making nice aspects to Neptune that we're mentioning. The sun and Mercury making a nice aspect to the Neptune. So that's very interesting too, because sort of just feeds this, like I'm saying. The, how would you call that? You could call this spin, this full moon. Who manages to put the most positive spin? Who wins the spin on the situation, essentially? Now let's look at some other things going on, because not far away from the moon is Saturn. Now, the moon is about 10 degrees away from Saturn. Some astrologers are going to tell you that's a conjunction and others won't. Everybody debates how many degrees away is a conjunction. I personally think when it comes to the moon, it's sensitive enough that 10 degrees is allowable. And the moon's at 1 and the Saturn's at 10. You can probably feel it. Saturn restricts the moon. So once again, we have like a hard ass kind of energy with Saturn in Aquarius. Very structured, very rules oriented, but different rules than usual. Unconventional rules, their rules. Upheaval is part of it. Learning about different tribes than your own, forming different tribes based on different values and ideas. This is all really strong, and it's in the 11th house, all of these planets, which is even talking about groups and communities. And so again, you have like this triple whammy of Moon, Pluto, Saturn, all not exactly on top of each other, but close enough. So again, you get this really strong pull towards power and restructuring along, new lines and new ways or new groupings, or that is bucking against the old system. And yet it's very fixed and stubborn in its own right. Hard to say who that could apply. That could apply so many directions. I'm not even going to start to guess. But there's so much change going on in our world right now. It's really overwhelming to grasp it all, isn't it? But this is what I'd be careful of, is if it were me, if something seemed too glamorous, too good to be true, vague and foggy, something doesn't quite sit well with you, you can't quite get all the answers, just know that under the surface, these are profound oppositions that would definitely provoke some power struggles, and there's people or groups trying to dominate, and they're very rigid feeling. They're very fixed on what they think is the way. That can apply to anything, okay? People or governments. Now, Saturn is also making a line of a square to Uranus. We talked about that last time. This is going to be, both of them are moving a little slowly. They're going to be squaring each other off and on for a while this year. So Saturn square Uranus is really your classic, like the rules versus the rebel. Uranus in Taurus, all these little upheavals, little earthquakes, little shakeups to things that you thought were secure. And Saturn, again, trying to initiate and stabilize something different that it wants along its own ideologies, and Uranus coming along and just saying, no, I don't want to. I don't want that. Or poke a hole. That's not going to work. So there's always rebel forces, at work on the planet, and there's always people trying to impose rules and structure things. But, the quality of this one, because they're both fixed signs, can be quite dramatic at times, protests and upheavals and things that collapse suddenly, despite, if there was nothing getting in the way of Saturn in Aquarius with Pluto and the moon, somebody might be building building some new empire in their mind, or for real, and nothing gets in the way of it, then it's different than when there's something that's constantly grinding and comes along and disrupts it all the time. Because the disruption from Uranus and Taurus is going to completely piss off Saturn and Aquarius and the moon Pluto. And they'll come down even stricter. So I think we all know this is already going on. It's going on with COVID and with new rules and regulations around vaccine passports and travel and borders and who can do what and when. And, we're already seeing that. There's obviously other ways that this is applying, but certainly we see it with that, with, pushback from powers that be, pushback from other rebellious aspects of society. It's an unsettling time for us all with these aspects, and they're ongoing. Now, what else do we have? Let's see. Yeah, we also have Jupiter opposing Venus and Mars. So Mars is at the end of Leo now, almost hitting Regulus. So this full moon isn't exactly on Regulus, but it's pretty close. Regulus, I've mentioned in other videos here and there. It is an aspect, it's a fixed star representing a king who fell from grace and was assassinated, had a quick rise to power and was assassinated. So a quick rise and a quick fall. Sometimes when planets hit that Regulus aspect, we can see a dramatic rise and fall of someone else or something else around us. And it's not quite on the degree, but it's pretty close. So we might see some of that. But I don't get a feeling it's quite at the culmination point yet. Who knows what'll happen with the reaction of these 3 billionaires going into space for no reason except their own showing, their own machismo. So that can be a fall from grace, whatever happens to Bezos and Branson after they get done all of these shenanigans, when everybody's suffering and struggling and they decide to spend their money on going up into space. That could be, that's one thing that's just current right now as we're in this full moon, is talking about that. Venus has moved into Virgo, so now we get into like nitty-gritty details Venus, wanting things to be beautifully pure with Venus and Virgo, idealizing the virgin in a sense of meaning. Virgin means basically it doesn't mean she hasn't been having sex. It means she belongs to no man. That's what a virgin means. No one's property. That's what it means. So we have Venus in the sign of the Virgin. So the desire and the aesthetic, meaning, the way people will, like, their tastes, how they portray their desires, how they come across in their feminine aspect, is belonging to no one, pure, sovereign. And their style and their taste and their choices will reflect that. Also, Venus in Virgo is very, perfectionist and detailed. Now, Mars and Venus together like that, Mars in Leo with Venus in Virgo, has impeccable taste, like impeccable taste. You have somebody who understands and has a flair for going big and making things glamorous and lovely. But you've got Venus and Virgo coming in there with the little details making it ultra perfect, but also toning it down a little bit. So you combine the two of them together and you have just gorgeous things that could come out of this. So that could be a great energy for anybody who's a creator, who's an artist, a musician, a writer, anybody who's, if your self-expression and your art form is free flowing right now, could be a great time to express it, to do your paintings, to do your writing, to compose your music, to sing. Could be a great time to redecorate, great time to get new clothes, freshen yourself up with your wardrobe, anything style related, anything that requires elegance and good taste. Great timing for that. Now it's opposite Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter has just gone into Pisces. And Jupiter in Pisces is all about free-flowing the love and acceptance for everybody and everything. Venus in Virgo is, I told you I wanted that shade of gray, not the other shade of gray. That's exactly how I want it. Jupiter in Pisces is like feeling it out, well, that one looks nice. Venus in Virgo is like, it's called eggshell gray, or it's something like that. And Jupiter in Pisces is like, okay, well, I just like it. It feels good. Doesn't care about the details. Jupiter in Pisces doesn't care about the details. It's all about, does it feel good? Okay, let's do it. Did I get it? Or they're looking at paint and they're going, I don't know why, I just feel that one intuitively. They pick it off the shelf. Venus in Virgo has gone through all the charts, has looked at it in everyday light, and then chose it and knows that's the one I want. And that's why. Jupiter in Pisces, I don't know why, but yeah, that one's good. Perfect. I love it. And they will, because they did it intuitively. Who's right? Who's wrong? Nobody's right or wrong. Just totally different ways of operating. So you've got that's an opposition in the sky right now too. So you might see this full moon stuff about, people who want to be that precise perfectionist, impeccable taste, down to the letter kind of person. And then you might see other people that are like, yeah, I don't care. I don't have to read the whole thing. I know what I want. Or, yeah, that's fine. Accepted. And when it comes down to relationships and people with those planets, you get obviously the same kind of thing. Venus, Mars and Leo wants big emotions, wants romance, wants a little bit of drama, wants you to tell them you love them, wants you to go, oh, wow, be all excited. Venus and Virgo, when it comes to relationships, is like, okay, you're going to analyze things. I don't like it when the flowers are there. I ask, I like them better when they're on this table. No. Could you please stop saying that word? That's Venus and Virgo. Stop saying that. Jupiter in Pisces is like, doesn't care. Come one, come all, make a mess. Someone swears, someone can't stand it. Oh, well, we're all together. It doesn't matter. So you'll see that opposition playing out, details and discernment versus full acceptance and flowing along. And Neptune is still, it's in Pisces as well. So it's still emphasizing Pisces, even though they're quite a bit apart in degree. They don't make an aspect really. And we have our nodes still, North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. It's been going on for months now. And, the Saturn is the only thing that's really making an aspect to the nodes. So that Saturn in Aquarius we mentioned, bringing in a new world structure, is supportive of the node in Gemini, the North Node in Gemini. So on a bigger picture level, we might say that, because Saturn is a long passage and it's a life lesson, and it's a time where the lessons we're learning are Aquarian in nature, so that already that is about re-envisioning a new society, new structure, new ways of living, new rules to live by. And North Node in Gemini supports diversity for sure, supports being curious and diverse and having, multicultural, multi everything. And Saturn in Aquarius was definitely trying to teach us that as well, because it's the brotherhood of man kind of sign, accepting you do you and I'll do me, and we're all different and diverse, but we can coexist if we have similar values that accept that coexistence. So, I would say that's a bigger picture thing going on, is this birthing of a more diverse yet tolerant world. Hope I'm right. Sorry for the lawnmowers. Suddenly they have about 2 feet by 2 feet of yard, and they have a giant lawnmower outside. I think they're done. Anyway. Okay. Let's go to our tarot now and see what else comes up. Nope, not done yet. Well, it's summer. That's what it is. Lawnmowers in summer. I don't mind the sound. All right, so we're going to do some cards now to see what's going on, to add to this message for you, what you can expect for this full moon period. All right, so our first card is the Five of Wands. So just my card looks pretty ripped up, but I leave it because it matches the energy of the Five of Wands, which says strife. It looks like a struggle, doesn't it, this card? It's old. I've had this deck for years and years. So basically the Five of Wands is when there's too many cooks in the kitchen and there's arguments. There's too much ego in the room. There's too many people debating, and it's not obvious that there's really a winner or a loser. It's unfortunately not a collaborative thing. It's usually a time when somebody needs to leave. That could be you, or that could be somebody else. So again, we mentioned, that there's a certain level of control or rigidity in the air with this full moon. So if that's playing out on your end, you might need to walk away, take a hiatus, or other people might be doing that around you. The good news is the next card is the Fool, so that would be like a fresh start and a new chapter, and getting clear on a vision of what that looks like. So if you're frustrated at all during this full moon period and you have to pull back or lay low, or people are leaving the scene, or whatever's going on, if there's any kind of drama, I would say it's always good to pull back and meditate on your own vision. Try to get a sense of the big picture of where you see yourself going, and do some work around that. If you want to feel like you're productive, there's always something productive about stepping back and trying to see the global picture, or saying or affirming, this is where I want life to go. This is what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to close this curtain because it's a little hot. There, you can see me slightly better now. Ooh, our next card is the Star. That's nice. All right, that's very nice. That sort of fits with the Neptune glamour. The star is like fame and stars in our eyes, ideals. Sometimes the star will bring you some sort of recognition. Might be for the moment, might be something longer. It's somebody could be putting you on a pedestal. You might be doing it too. There's a lot of hope with the star, which is great. So, on the heels of something that might have started off falling apart, now we have the Fool and the Star. It's time to think big. Like in your vision, when you reformulate your vision or your goals for the future, I want you to dream right now. Think big. Don't worry if it's putting into action right now, but at least let yourself think it and dream it. Now the next card is the Queen of Discs. So remember, we've always said when we show her, you can see she's got her ram at the front, like her gatekeeper, her henchman, her secretary, protecting her from whatever, not to be bothered. She's enjoying her lands, her wealth, her riches. Her huge horns show her status. This lady is very financially secure. This could be you, or this could be someone around you. This could be a benefactor. This could be someone that you hire, someone that you'll need in the future for your vision or your dreams. Or it could be that you get to that level, but you're looking at somebody who's a very successful person who's got wealth, and they might become a customer, an investor. Could be you. Could be that's part of your dream or your vision, is to get there. Now, Seven of Cups comes up after that, so you'd want to be careful with your money and careful about who you trust. The Seven of Cups is usually nasty, murky emotions, things that are hidden, things that are sort of creepy sometimes, or scandalous at times, things that are not honest or upfront, above board. So if you're talking about big dreams and a wealthy woman, make sure that you're going to get what you agree on, have it in writing, make sure that the money you're asking for is kosher and clean, make sure you're not being greedy, or they are. So this is just a cautionary tale here. Oh, this is good. After that, you have the Six of Discs, which is success, Moon in Taurus. So you get your value. So just a little test in there, which could mean you got to be careful, but you will succeed and make the right choice. Or you have to really pay attention to the details. Venus and Virgo, as long as you do, you'll overcome whatever that Seven of Cups is about. Something hidden, maybe something toxic, but you will figure it out and you'll overcome it and make the successful choice. The Moon in Taurus in this card and the Success card just basically says you are valued as you should be. And then we have another character. We have the Princess of Swords who comes in. This could be somebody, usually she's complicated. Usually she's sort of combative and complex and a bit mentally, like she can't calm her mind. She might not be very focused. She might be chaotic. She might be rebellious. She might be just very inconsistent, probably very smart. But usually she creates chaos and problems. So once again, depending what you're doing, if you sense any of those qualities, just be honest about them. You can still take this girl on and help guide her, but she needs limits. Don't go into it blind, hoping she's going to turn out to be a little Snow White. She's not. She's a little rebel. But sometimes you can make that work for you too. Just be honest be honest about, see the people coming into your path and be honest about them. Next card is Venus and Aries. Four of Wands. So this is like a looking out for number one kind of card. Think of yourself, initiate, pioneer, do something new, do something of your own volition, your own courage. This card says completion on it. So it has a nice feeling. It's green. It's, even though it's a Wands card, a fire card, it suggests that the fire is very well balanced in this circle. It's there and it got something accomplished. It's not out of control like a wildfire. It's cooled a bit with the green. So there's a level of completion of something that you wanted to do. And you have to be thinking of yourself when it's Venus and Aries in a healthy way. And our last card is the Empress. So this is a nice way to end it off. There's a sense of putting in the dues, choosing the right people, and now you're sitting pretty on your throne. Now you're reaping the rewards and the benefits, because she's the queen, that's for sure. She's an empress. She's the empress. She's bigger than the queen. She's able to take care of everybody around her because she has the means, and that means like financially, but also emotionally, she has the means to care for and look after people. So this is a very good reading as far as putting forth a new plan or new goals for yourself. Just the only caution, like I said, is know your worth. So if you're doing something new, and part of your vision requires anything to do with hiring people or being hired, do your research, know what you're worth, know what other people's time is worth. That's the only caution, is that you could just miss the mark and feel taken advantage of, or that you weren't paid enough, or you overpaid somebody else. And the other caution is just be very discerning of your collaborators. Not to have to say no to everybody, but just, you don't expect the behavior of the Empress out of the Princess of Swords. You have appropriate expectations of your collaborators. And then I think it's a great time to be expanding your visions. All right, so I'm going to try to think, how do we phrase a good question for our readings for this full moon? It's not really coming to me clearly. Well, I think I'm just going to go really general then and just ask a general card of how is your full moon going to go, because I'm not getting any clear theme right at this time. So very generally, how is your full moon going to go? Let's take a look for Aries. All right, Aries, your full moon is the Wheel of Fortune. So you might see something lucky happen. You might see a boost, a change in circumstances for the better. You might hear good news for yourself or for somebody close to you that you're happy for. You might see something starting to turn around in your favor that you've been waiting for. The Wheel of Fortune feels like it's on the upswing to me for you. So I feel like there's going to be a little boost for your life to your summer. And I feel like it's possibly related maybe more to people that you're close to. And then that brings joy to your life because their joy is your joy. That's the feeling I'm getting for you for this full moon. That's a very nice message. Taurus, what is your card? So you've got Justice. So Taurus, your full moon, you might be dealing with, this can sometimes be legal matters and agreements and paperwork and documents and things to make official, things to sign, things you got to go over the red tape of. So you might feel a little bit like it's heavy this full moon. You might be doing a lot of negotiating. That's another thing with a legal card or a Libra card, is mediations and negotiations. You might be helping somebody settle a conflict. You might be negotiating prices on something. If you're buying a house, you might be rereading some sort of fine print or red tape on something that you're about to do. So, and you also could be making other major decisions with the Justice card. And if that's the case, then it would suggest you've been weighing something over for a long time. So it might be time to make yourself decide and stop weighing things. All righty. Gemini. Gemini, your card for this full moon is the Ace of Wands, so you're going to have a great one. Get active, go outside, be social, do something new. This is fire in its essence. This is motivation and action. This is passion. This is spontaneity. So I would say it's a great time for you, Gemini, to just be spontaneous. It's going to bring more fun into your life. And let's face it, after all of these lockdowns, you need some fun. You might be suffering more than most signs during this pandemic because you need to be social and you need to shift environment and shift who you're around, or you go a little nuts. So right now, I'd say things are heightened for you, and you go out and let your hair down, dance, play loud music, take a day trip, say yes, to stuff you're asked to. Just, yeah, go out and have a good time. This is a great card for you. All right, Cancer. Cancer, your card for this full moon is the Ace of Swords. So you're having some aha moments, eureka. You're sitting there, suddenly, ding, I'm clear. I'm clear what I want now. I'm clear what this person is about. I suddenly have insight as to this relationship. I know what project I'm starting. I want to feel clean and organized. My head is clear. Sharp thinking, insight, and inspiration. So this is wonderful, this card. Use it. Act on it quickly. If you have an aha moment, write it down. If you have insight about something or someone and you're inspired to write to them, talk to them, work things out, apologize, bring something up you haven't said, for the sake of clarity, do it. And if you're having an inspirational idea, don't wait, start it. Write it down, start it now. Get your head clear, get your place clear. It's a great card for you, Cancer. All right, Leos. Leo, your card for this full moon is the Moon. So this is a difficult card because it suggests things that are hidden or shadowy, deeply emotional, subconscious. So you might have a moody full moon. It is falling, opposite your sign. If you're born in the late stages of Cancer, early Leo, like around now, you might find this full moon is more emotional or confusing. Yeah, I'm getting a feeling that there could be a sense of confusion. I would say go back to the original reading I gave, talking about Neptune casting a glamour, but there's power issues under the surface. I'm getting a feeling this is applying quite a bit to you, this full moon. If something confuses you, depresses you, makes you feel heavy or gross after being with them, understand the underlying dynamics of something. So this card, unfortunately for you, asking you to really deep dive emotionally and psychologically into the situation. Sorry, it's telling me my connection isn't very strong, so I'm just going to make sure that I'm connected properly online here. Okay. All right. Let's go to Virgo then. Virgo, your card for this full moon is the Three of Swords. Well, there's no mincing words with that. You feel some sort of loss. This is the card of sorrow, card of grieving. So you might find, Virgo, that this full moon is bringing out a sense of what you've lost. You might be missing somebody a lot. You might be grieving some things in your life that didn't happen or that. So I hope you find some support. If it's overwhelming, reach out to somebody for some support. If it's not overwhelming, then it's a wave of emotion that just comes and goes. It's part of life. But if there's people you miss and they're still with us, maybe you want to reach out to them. And it could also be that you're having realizations about yourself and your life that just make you grieve, a previous chapter of your life that's ending now. And hopefully you find hope in the new chapter that's beginning. It's just a temporary thing. All right, Libras. Libra, your card for this full moon is the King of Swords. So you might have a King of Swords around you, or you could possibly be the King of Swords yourself, but he's a very powerful guy. He's very bright. He's usually educated, and he's super clever. He could be extremely charming and quick. He could also be very slick. He could be very manipulative and very cunning. So if you have someone around you like this, all I'm getting is to just step back and get a good idea of this person's true intentions. Because sometimes this guy isn't very savvy emotionally, but he doesn't mean to hurt anybody. And sometimes he's outright manipulative. So I'm just getting a feeling, whoever that is, if you can identify him, who this is referring to, just step back and get a gauge as to, does this person have good intentions? And if they do, then maybe you can forgive some quirky behavior and it's going to work out just great. And if you see that their intentions are pure, then you've got a very capable person around you. All right, Scorpio. Scorpio, your card is the Prince of Swords. So he's quite different than the King. As you can see, this card looks complicated, right? He's got 3 figures down below that look like they're twisting and turning. He's also twisting and turning. He's got different swords going every which way. You can't even, it's hard to make out his body. He's very hard to understand, okay? So this guy is somebody who's usually, again, very, very smart or talented or clever. But he's always scattered. He is not consistent. He doesn't follow through with what he says. He's either always late, he doesn't finish his projects, he makes plans and he doesn't keep them. He is not mentally, emotionally stable. He's not secure. So if you have someone like this around you, like I said with the King, he can be fun. This guy can be lots of fun. He can be funny. So if you have him around your life and you don't expect that much, just enjoy him for what he is, accept him for what he is. I would say don't get too involved with him. Don't rely on him. But if you have this guy around you and you're trying to rely on him, or you wonder whether he's going to step up, shape up and grow up, no, he's not there yet. So you just want to, again, seems to be the theme of this reading, this full moon reading, is look at what people are, not what you want them to be, and be honest about who they are and what they are capable of. This is all a very Neptunian message. Look through the looking glass. See beyond Neptune for who and what people truly are. And then be honest with it, and it might be fine. All right. Sagittarius. And you have the Queen as we pulled in the general reading. So maybe that part of the reading really applied to you if you want to go back and listen to it. This is a wealthy woman who's well protected, status, wealth, land, has her little guard dogs, has her little gatekeepers. Not easy to access her, but if you do, she's an asset. She's very generous, philanthropic, very good advice, very wise. So this could be you, even though she's an earth sign. Maybe you're the one who has little gatekeepers. Maybe it's not easy to access you. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you want to just look at that. Also, maybe you need access to a lady like this. Maybe you're looking for a mentor or advisor, a teacher, a therapist, an investor, somebody to help you. It's all a very good feeling, Sag. You need to have a grounded, wise woman in your life. And if you can access her, you'll have a wealth of good advice and wisdom that will help you be more strategic and plan your projects, your business, your affairs, advise you on your relationship dynamics. She's gold. So figure out who the hell she is and find a way to get access to her. Wow, that was a strong reading. I love it when things, sometimes the readings just, the messages come out like super strong out of nowhere, even for me to channel them. And others, for some reason, are more general. It's just how it is. All right, we're looking at Capricorn. Capricorn, your card for this month, for this full moon, is the King of Discs. So this is, this is your Earth King. This is a very Capricorn card. This is the guy who's very reliable. Look at him with his armor and his helmet. He's got the status. He's got the horse that trusts him and loves him. So people love this guy. They trust him and they love him. He's got a thick armor, though. Look at that. Look at how much armor he's wearing. That helmet looks like it weighs 50 pounds, plus his body armor, plus his shield. So he's very guarded, right? So just the same qualities that you love that make him protected and reliable also make him very tough to get to know and tough for him to take off his armor. But the thing is, it's not because he's a bad guy that he has all the armor. He's put that armor there to protect himself because he's sensitive, but he's also loyal and responsible. But he has packed on this armor for a long time now. And I feel this king needs to let his armor down to be happier. So if you're a Capricorn, this could be you, even if you're a woman. You have to ask yourself if you have just been packing on so much protective gear for so long that it's too heavy for you. There's a point when how safe can you possibly be by packing on more protection? At some point it becomes lonely and heavy to carry it. So if you know someone like this, you might want to try to ask them, try to help them lighten up and open up. And if it's you, then you might just really want to ask yourself, is there some load that I can stop carrying? Is there some armor that I can stop wearing? And let people, trust people again. Let your guard down, let people in. Have some more fun. Let people see that you're also vulnerable sometimes. Ooh, that was a strong one too. Alrighty. Aquarius. Aquarius, your message for this full moon is the Two of Wands, and this, as you can see, it looks like a conflict. Mars in Aries is an argument or a conflict, and these two arrows look like they're about to burst, right? So if you have been angry or pissed off, frustrated, can't get your message through, breaking your head over the same old thing with somebody, you know, and I know about 3 Aquarians personally right now, and I know that this is would resonate with all of you. So can't say everything for every single Aquarian out there, but I know a handful already. There's a battle and a standoff going on, and basically it's a no-win situation with somebody, and yet you keep stepping up to the battlefield as if it's winnable, as if it's equal, but it's you're not with an equal. It's not an equal footing. And my advice in this case would be to stand down and take a look at the situation and try to withdraw from battle, because I'm getting a feeling like it's a nasty battle and it's a pointless battle. It's one of those ones where both people will just end up bloody on the field. Escalating is not going to bring a solution with this person. So I hope you have good support in that case for whoever this is that you're dealing with. And Pisces. All right, Pisces. Your card is the 9 of Wands, the Strength card. That's great. It's a Sagittarian card. Freedom is your theme. You want to be free. You want to milk all of those Pisces planets that we've got going on for this full moon. Jupiter's in your sign. It just started. You're about to go through a really good year. Jupiter lasts in the sign for about a year. You're going to have a boost to your confidence, a boost, you know, maybe some good luck. And by the way, luck doesn't mean lotteries, okay? Luck can be anything from just life going smoother and easier than it has, okay? Favors, thoughtfulness, kindness coming your way you didn't expect. Little perks and bonuses also count as luck. So you're about to have a really good year, and it's just starting, and I would say you're feeling strong. Now, if you're feeling strong and confident right now, this is a good time to be visioning the future and visioning new goals and raise that bar a little higher. That was a nice way to end it off. If any of you would like a more personal reading, a more in-depth, longer reading with me, you know what to do. You can message me below this video, or you can reach me at river-rain.com. Clairvoyant Medium Catherine Allen on Facebook or Instagram. So I wish you a wonderful full moon. Let go. See people for what you wish. See people as they are, not as you wish them to be. Be realistic about them and accept them as they are. And you'll sail through this. All right. Take care.